up? My name's Tim. This is Xiao. She's a 2002 Ford E350 with a 7.3 liter Power Stroke diesel engine in it. Outside, we've got this little table here. Lovely girlfriend Summer built this. Folds down with some chains. Ended up having to take off all the rails on the bus and then patched up all the holes with a Bondo. And then ended up painting it with Rust-Oleum. I used a primer first and then rolled on with Rust-Oleum. And then also attached these like stained pieces of wood on the outside. We got the back wheelchair access door and ended up putting these fence locks on it. And then used master lock to lock it all up. And then this is just an outdoor barn fence latch or something. So we got a 30-gallon water tank in here. Ended up using PEX for the plumbing. Water pump there, accumulator. Back, I ended up taking out all the old lights, and then you can kind of see some remnants or old spots from them. But yeah, I ended up patching them up with fiberglass and then bondoing them. And then I replaced everything with LEDs. So I cut out these holes and popped these bed layers in. And then also welded all this metal work here. We got the propane tank over there as well. Now we're going to take you up top and show you what we got going on up here. Starting with the deck, fabricated everything myself. Got a Harbor Freight Easy Flux welder. It's like $200 Harbor Freight. Best $200 I've ever spent. But yeah, to build it, I basically made these railings that run on either side of the deck. And then you kind of see they get bolted. That's kind of bolting to the internal ribs on the bus. And then this platform is a separate piece. I built that on the ground. Built like the entire frame of it. And then once I got the frame up top, bolted it down to the railings. And then from there, I just tossed on this expanded steel. So for the electrical, I got 400 watts of solar. These are the Renogy 100 watt panels. They came with the bus when I bought it because it was previously built out by somebody else. But I just kind of gutted the bus and started from scratch. And then we got, I think it's 8, maybe 10 AGW wire that's running into the top. It's got this little port that it goes through. And I got one of the Max fans. I think it was like one of the 5000 models. And then for the roof, to like seal things up, I was gonna do the entire roof with the Henry's Tropicool roof sealant. And I kind of ran into an issue. I thought it was gonna go on like paint. I was thinking I could use a roller, and then it was really like pasty and not great. So I ended up just like putty knifing it over the seams, and it kind of turned out like shit. But you know, you live and you learn.
Would you use it again?
Probably not.
There, that's what people want to know.
So I got a tankless hot water heater. Runs up to the shower. That's hooked up to the propane tank. So I have a 300 amp hour battery bank, 3 100 amp hour AGM batteries, then a 40 amp MPPT solar charger, and then the 12 volt DC alternator charger. Welcome to the inside of the bus. We'll start by talking about the front. Got this little shoe rack out here, a little cabinet. Generally just keep like papers and some electrical junk up there. Built these cabinets. For the interior, I actually gutted the entire bus and spray foam insulated it and then paneled it back up. And I tried to like use as much space as I possibly could, so built cabinets in this front zone.
So did you put plywood? You put plywood behind all that, or is that the metal back there? Oh, that's plywood.
Plywood, yeah. They're kind of, I built it as a box and then inserted it right there and then put paneling over. I got a bunch of inspiration from Navigation Nowhere, like how he built the internal framing. There's basically, see, there's like on the roof, there's like a couple 2x2s that are stacked to be like 4x4s running along the tops. Then just kind of bent the paneling onto it. Then we got this little cabinet here. This was crazy because this had the entire electrical control module for the bus in it. And I didn't know anything about electrical right when I like got the bus, and I like just kind of started pulling wires out. I was like being smart about it. I was following all like the bus things back to it that I was taking out. But then I actually, funny story, got to a point when I pulled something that I didn't think I needed. I was looking at the electrical schematics for the bus, and I noticed that there's something called the transmission lockout loop. Once I had pulled everything out, like literally like 50 pounds of wires, like a pile like this big, and went to turn the bus on, and I couldn't pull it out of park. It was like locked in park. And I had like a panic day where I was like, oh shit, like what do I do? Basically I had a huge panic moment, and then took like, I don't know, I spent like several hours looking at the electrical schematics, and then just kind of pieced together what I had done. And I wish I could show you. It's kind of stuck in the wall here, but basically ended up just finishing this loop. There's a circuit that I had like disconnected, and it just made it so the transmission worked again. But I was panicking for a moment. So right here we got the kind of pantry kitchen bar zone. Originally it was actually going to be a closet, and then I built the frame for a dresser in here, and I just like wasn't feeling it. Something didn't seem right. And then ended up building this. It's kind of intended to be a bar, but it's just extra counter space for whatever. And I'm so thankful I did. Like, it's probably one of the most used zones in my bus. Just like when I walk in, I generally just throw things here. It's like extra storage. But yeah, I used brick paneling for all of these walls. Got these. This is just like food storage. Some old crusty limes in there. So this is the Iceco 60-liter fridge, I believe. This thing is awesome. I love it so much. I was thinking about getting like a really nice Yeti cooler just to like save some money, but I'm so glad I got this thing. Not having to deal with ice is amazing. And this just connects straight to the battery bank. It's super efficient. I don't have any issues with my power running out from this thing, which I think like regular mini fridges from houses will drain batteries. So this is the kitchen zone. Got this little mini oven stove combo. This thing is sweet. It's a Wedgwood Vision. Huh. I got it on Amazon, or Craigslist.
Oh, okay.
Some small town out in Arizona. I bought the bus down in LA. I was living down near Joshua Tree for a little bit, and yeah, this was like kind of near Lake Havasu. Being able to cook a pizza while you're camping is amazing. And we got some storage under here, pots and pans. Under the sink storage, all your regular things, fire extinguisher. Got this little drawer zone. Then sink. To do this, I hooked up the pump to a switch just so I can control when the water works. I don't have hot water connected to the sink.
Oh, yeah, for the shower.
It's just for the shower. That was kind of like a crossroads I had to come to. I didn't really want to run hot water because the hot water tank's over there. It has like knobs to control the flow and the heat, and it seemed impractical to connect hot water to here if I have to get under the bed, and having a shower in the back was a priority. So it's kind of the give and takes you have to put up with building a bus. Also, I got this just little inset, extra storage. Just a little glove here. Then we got this dividing wall between kitchen and the bed, and I wanted to put a little hole through it. The vision is to hang a plant here one day. Haven't gotten to that yet. The bus is still work in progress.
They all are.
Yeah. Then we also got the Victron Energy little battery reader. The ceiling, I did this paneling. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a, I want to say like medium density board. It's just like particle board essentially. And it's just, I think the ceiling's 4 different panels, like one here, one here, one here, and here. I've got, like I said earlier, there's kind of ribs running along. I used brad nails and screws in separate areas and then hid them with this trim. And then got the LED puck lights in these as well. Got a bunch of electrical wiring just all in the walls and ceiling. And all these lights are hooked up to switches. Basically have every 2 lights on different switches. So these lights are on a switch. And then we got the dining room lights on a switch, kitchen lights on a switch, and then up here and then the front zone. So we got the bedroom over here. This is my closet dresser zone down here. Then the bed's here. This is a unique size. Had to be 48 inches perfectly to fit the space. So it's called a 3/4 inch, or a 3/4 size bed. It's right between a full and a twin, I'm pretty sure. Basically the size of a piece of plywood, 48 inches by 75 inches, I think. Works out perfectly. And then kept this as like a little wall divider, but I wanted to keep the entire bus open floor plan, so kind of just makes the bus feel bigger. And then behind the bus, or the bed, we got a little nightstand is what I'd call it. And then some cabinetry above. Got some, all the electric gear, books. I didn't really want to deal with wiring 110 in here just because it's expensive and just a lot of extra effort. And then I would have had to buy like a big inverter. So like the only thing I really need to charge is my computer and like some camera gear and stuff. But I ended up just wiring cigarette lighters. Got one here and then one behind the bed. And then I got this 300 watt sine wave inverter. It's good for like charging things. You want to get the sine wave ones. Works out perfectly. It saved me a lot of money and a lot of extra effort. Moving on to the dining room zone / desk. Got the table here. It's connected with these RV legs, which end up popping out. Pull this off. Kind of opens up floor space too if you have guests over. But then this also turns into a guest bed. I still have to finish some things, but basically what I did was these are all slatted. So there's also storage under here, first off. But then you pull on that, pull on this one, and then these slide out. You got yourself a guest bed.
Hey, I'm Summer. I'm Tim's girlfriend. I'm gonna tell you guys about our upholstery, starting with the curtains. So for the curtains, I just went to Joann's and picked out a fabric I liked. I wanted to keep it pretty neutral because when we have them all down, there's a lot of fabric going on. So I just chose like a neutral color, cut them, and It's a pretty basic sew. I'm not like a seamstress or anything, so I just learned this as we went. But yeah, kind of just like sewed the seams in, made a square, and then we made these little leather straps. So what you can do and how they go up is you just roll it up and then you clip them up, and they are mounted on the wall here. There's like a wooden bar that's nailed in, and they mount just like that. And then when you want them down, you just unclip and voila. And they help a lot with keeping some of the heat out and the light. If you wanted like more, you know, blackout curtains, you could do a different fabric, but we just did this to keep the light, keep it kind of white and light in here.
Why a bus?
I think the bus kind of happened naturally. I feel like you're looking at like all sorts of vehicles for a while, like vans, buses, all sorts of things. We looked at, we got really hooked on the shuttle bus down in California. We really liked it. We kept trying to contact the guy, and he'd be like, yeah, and he was really elusive. Anyways, it didn't end up working out, but it was a shuttle, like a 5-window shuttle bus, and it had the wheelchair door. And after seeing that, we got really hooked on the wheelchair door in the back, because we just really liked the idea of being able to open the door up from the bed and like lay it out and look at a view. And then from there, I feel like we got kind of hooked on like the bus shuttle idea in comparison to a van or whatnot. And yeah, we found this and it happened. So.
Yeah, and one part about the bus, like I did a bunch of research into vans, and the one thing I really liked about the bus is that you can lay sideways in it, where most vans you can't do that. So something to consider. So I engineered this super high-tech way to close the door. Boom. So the entire cost of the bus was around like 25 grand, maybe 27. I haven't done a full audit on it yet. I have a big bag of receipts I need to go through. But the bus itself was 7 grand, so it's probably like another 20 grand. That might be a little high on the build, but I don't know. I think it was like 15 to 20 grand on the build.
Where do you think most of the money went? Like
a lot of like appliances, and then metal was kind of spendy. I don't know. There were like a lot of chunks that were like $500 to $1,000, whether it's like metal, lumber. I did make some like mistakes, so like, you know, you got to budget in for mistakes.
Cushions. So our couch, we have an L-shaped couch, and it is made up of how many ever sections there are here, but pretty much to make these, I took kind of like a memory foam mattress topper that you can get at, I don't know, a lot of like box stores and stuff, I feel like sell them, but memory foam mattress topper, and I just made the measurements for each cut. So I needed like a seat here, and then a backer here, seat here, backer here. So I made the measurements, and then pretty much just like drew that out on the topper. And then to cut it, there probably are better ways to do it than what I did, but I just took like a serrated knife and sawed the whole way. So that's what I did, but not saying that's a recommendation. I got this fabric again at Joann's and cut it to be a little bit bigger than the memory foam was, and then sewed all the seams in, and then I actually put zippers on them, which I was very proud of my zippers actually, because they're not easy, but I installed the zippers, so if we want to like take these off and wash these or whatever, you can. And then yeah, there's like the memory foam on the inside. This is a 4-inch foam, and I would say it's like a pretty good cushiness. You could go thinner if you wanted to, but this is pretty good in terms of comfortability.
So how long did it take you guys to build this bus?
It was about like 6-7 months or so. I was working non-stop every day for the most part. Half of the time building it, though, I probably spent just pacing back and forth thinking about how I was going to build it.
We're both like photographers, videographers, so I'm a photographer primarily, so freelance, which enables me to, living on the road is no different than I already live, honestly. I'm always traveling for work, constantly. The transition wasn't that huge for me. It wasn't like I was quitting like a 9-to-5 where I go to an office, so we were able to work on the road and edit on the road and yeah, continue work that way.
Yeah, and I do freelance videography, so same thing, just being able to work whenever we want. And having the table here is pretty convenient to be able to set up our laptops and work. One of the biggest things I think is just learning balance, because I think I got really into the project, and I know I did get to a point. I thought I was gonna build it in 3 months, and that was very ambitious of me. It ended up being, like I said, 6 to 7, and like the second month, 3 months of the build were a lot harder, having to just work. Kind of felt like working overtime, you know, because every day past 3-month mark I was like, I need to be done. But just like budget more time. It's probably going to take you twice, if not longer, than what you think it's going to take to build.
Especially if it's your first time.
Yeah. And, you know, you're going to make mistakes. Just, like, learn to roll with the mistakes and, like, learn from them.
Every part had mistakes. Everything that I worked on, I made mistakes. I had to redo that table twice. It was very frustrating, and, you know, didn't make right cuts and stuff, so you're always going to, like... Yeah, we're just humans, so they're going to have human error.
One other piece of advice is that building bus, forget what square and plumb mean, because nothing in a bus is going to be square or plumb. What's up? My name's Tim. This bus is Xiao. She's a 2001 Ford E350 with a 7.3 liter diesel Power Stroke. I'm in the Bend area. I do videography professionally. My handle for Instagram is Tim Arcane. The bus is also Xiao the Shorty, and would love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, give us a follow on Instagram, Xiao the Shorty. I'm Summer, Loomis Memory on Instagram, links below. Thanks for taking our tour. We'll see you next time. Woo!